Valentina.
Hi.
Welcome to
Hi,
Loving's
Manvi.
Cancer and Zenonco.io. This is a cancer healing journey talk where we invite speakers who have gone through the journey of cancer, maybe as patients, survivors, or as caregivers, and they inspire
Okay.
others going through the same journey. So, this not only
Okay.
helps them with the treatment, but also motivates and inspires them in a way when they listen to this journey. So, thank you
Okay.
for giving out your time for this. It's an honor to have you with us.
Thank you so
And,
much. It's absolutely my pleasure to be here.
okay, so can we begin with knowing something about you and then your story?
Sure. So, I'm 42 years old, and I come from a background of learning and development, as in that's my job. I work as a freelance trainer, so I conduct corporate workshops. I also am something like a ghostwriter, so I do a lot of editorial work as well. So that's pretty much my background of where I'm coming from. So, as far as my journey with cancer is concerned, so I come from a family where we do not have a history of cancer at all. And so, however, it all started one morning when I went to the washroom and I noticed that there was blood when I wiped myself. And throughout my life while growing up, until that day, I have never ever had periods that were, you know, unusual. My periods were always on time, and I never ever had anything untoward happen as far as periods were concerned. So when this happened outside my cycle, it immediately caught my attention. And I said, okay, this is not normal. I've never ever had blood. So I waited it out for the month. And then the second month, when it happened again, I said, okay, this is not okay. And I decided to consult with my gynecologist. And when he checked me, he did a physical examination as well, along with a pap smear. So when he checked me, he could see that there was a mass growing. There was like a tumor, and there were also multiple fibroids. So I was kind of not in a shock where the tumor was concerned as much as where the fibroids are concerned, because I had no inclination that I had even a single fibroid. Because, like I said, my periods were so regular. I never had any irregularities, never had any illness of some sort. So I'm also someone who loves running. So I'm very active and I take part in half marathons, and I exercise on a regular basis. So it's not something that would have missed me the way I see it. So anyway, when we checked it out and he asked me to do a sonogram, and so when I was at the diagnostic center for my sonogram, that's when the gentleman, the doctor who was doing my sonogram, told me that you don't just have one or two fibroids, you've got like multiple fibroids. So I said, wow, Christmas early to decorate my Christmas tree, because he said yes, because I had over 7 fibroids, which were over 4 centimeters in size. And in spite of that, I had no telltale signs of the fibroids. So he said it's very weird that, after having so many such huge fibroids that you didn't even realize. I said, no, nothing. So I took the report when my pap smear results were due, and I went down to meet my doctor. And that is when he said that he had received the pap smear results, and it showed that there was an indication of cancer, cervical cancer. However, he wasn't sure how far it had progressed, or if it was in fact, because it was still a deliberating process of whether it was in fact cancer. So I had a very good friend with me who came with me for this visit, and we decided to consult with a common friend's wife who runs a pathology center. So she said that I should see an gynecologist, not just a regular gynecologist, but someone who also deals with oncology, just to, be sure that we are headed in the right direction. So coming from a family, like I said, where we never needed, to consult an oncologist, this was kind of, okay, let's do our research and, see which path to take. And so that's when we chanced upon Dr. Yogesh Kulkarni, who practices at Kokila Ben. And trust me, from the first moment that I met him, I just turned to my friend and I said, okay, he's the one I want to go with for everything. It just clicked. So he suggested that I do a procedure that's called a colposcopy. So it's a internal kind of biopsy that they do, a punch biopsy where they take, it's done under general anesthesia. So they insert the colposcope inside you. There's a device that they insert inside you, and they take a punch. They conduct what is called a punch biopsy. So he did that, and when I was coming around, that's when he came and he told me it looks suspicious. So I said, okay. So when I have to collect my results and come in, we'll just see what to do. So we picked up my results, and before reaching the doc itself, we looked at it and it certified that it was cancer. And so that's when we asked him, so what's the next step? So he said that I would have to undergo a radical hysterectomy. And so that would mean not just taking out the basic reproductive system, that would also mean my ovaries, the lymph nodes, everything, like a complete, you could say, a complete biopsy. So I'm not biopsy, I'm sorry, a complete surgery, and it would be an open surgery. He did not want to go with a laparoscopic surgery because he didn't want to take a chance of leaving anything inside me. So all of this happened in literally under a week, where we found out, and I said, let's just go with it. Let's not think too much. It's there. We nip it in the bud and get rid of it, and let's see, what has to be done going forward. So my surgery was scheduled for the 6th of September 2019. And I was zapped for the next 3 days because I have never undergone an open surgery at all in my life. So those first 3 days, I have no idea what was happening, because more than the pain of the stitches, it was the back pain that was excruciating, because the surgery was almost 6 hours long, and I was on my back for the surgery. So, I was in a lot of pain post that, but it only kept getting better after that. So that was like the worst of it. And it just so as the days progressed, the next day itself, he told me, you're going to walk today. And I said, okay, fine, let's go. And I'm like holding my stomach and I'm like, oh God, here we go. Because I wanted, nobody likes staying in a hospital. Okay. So I wanted to show him that I'm active, and I'm like, I can get out of the hospital as fast as possible. So, but he took his time with me. And I guess he knew exactly what he was doing when he told me that, you're not just going to be in the hospital for 3 or 4 days. You'll be in the hospital for a good 8 days at least, just to make sure that when you walk out of here, you're walking out in good condition. And, when I think back in retrospect and I see how each of those days panned out, he really took it step by step. And I couldn't have agreed more with him on the entire process. So I walked out of the hospital on the 13th of September. And I took a place on my own for a month, because I just felt like I needed the space to be by myself, away from my family and everything. Um, so for the record, I'm a single mom. Okay. And I have a 15-year-old son. It was his birthday yesterday. He turned 15 yesterday. So but I felt the need to be alone at that point in time because this is also what you call a surgical menopause. Okay, so you are hitting menopause immediately. And so it's not just me getting used to my body changes physically, it's also a lot of psychological changes, which, trust me, sometimes you yourself will look back and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I really said that. Oh my God, I can't believe I really felt that. Because, you know, it changes you, whether, you want to accept it or not. Menopause does change you. It's all true. The hot flushes, the mood swings, everything. So I was lucky to also be surrounded by an amazing bunch of friends. Okay. I have such an amazing bunch of friends, so much so that my family never felt like I was going through cancer. Like, usually people, when they hear the word cancer, it just kind of scares you. But
True.
because I had such amazing people around me, I never got scared, or rather, we didn't have the time to get scared. We didn't even think of it. We just decided to look at it as like, it's like a flu. You get a flu, you treat it, and you're going to be okay, you know? So we looked at cancer the same way. It's just a freaking disease. We're just getting done with it. And, you know, everything else is just, it's just moving forward after that. So I lived on my own for about a month where I had my friends come feed me because I'm a complete foodie. So I had like everyone pampering me and giving me company. But trust me, that 1 month space that I had alone was the best way for me to recuperate and also for me to become comfortable with, myself and the way because it's literally you do a U-turn.
Mm.
Like I started experiencing the, menopausal symptoms in the hospital itself. For instance, the hot flushes. I started getting the hot flushes the second night itself. Like I woke up and I was drenched in sweat. And I said, okay, this is what it is. In an AC room, you're like soaking. So it was, so I knew that, okay, this is where I'm going. And I need to address this the best way possible. So, following which, I have to take checkups every 3 months. So, when the biopsy results came in after the entire procedure, because uh, they took samples from the surrounding area as well, just to be sure that they had got everything. So it turned out that I have developed what is called a precancerous condition called vein. And it's a high grade precancerous condition that I developed. So if it was a low grade precancerous condition, then it could have possibly even gone away on its own. But because it's high grade, so the cancerous cells can change anytime, like literally anytime from now till the next 10 years also. So every 3 months, I need to check back. So my doctor decided to not have me undergo radiation immediately because he said, since I'm still so young, he said that would really affect me because it's internal radiation that I would have to undergo. So he said, let's wait it out. And either way, because I'm checking back every 3 months. So as soon as the cancer cells begin to change, then we would go ahead with radiation. And it would probably be just about, maybe 2 sittings. That it wouldn't be more than that. And since I'm checking in every 3 months, it would not be something that would, alter my life or anything as well.
Mhm.
So I'm back to my normal routines. In fact, he gave me the green signal to go ahead with, resuming my runs within 3 months after my surgery. So within 3 months after my surgery, I was back on the streets running again. And yeah, I'm very thankful to him for his guidance. And of course, really thankful to, I had a very close friend who actually sat at my bedside almost every day in the hospital. And because my friend could do this for me, my family was at ease. And, my family could deal with this in the most positive way possible. So yeah, it's been a very, I would say, a very positive journey for me. I would not look at it as anything negative because, you know, like I said, just look at it like it's another disease. For instance, people are unaware that actually diabetes is much worse than cancer, because at least cancer is reversible, cancer is treatable, but diabetes is absolutely not reversible and treatable. So, but you don't see people getting scared of the word diabetes. They're scared of cancer. It's a mindset that's been ingrained in us from the time we were little. So,
Yeah.
cancer is really not that bad.
Actually, diabetes stays with you lifelong, and you can actually
Exactly.
treat cancer if you deal with it correctly.
Yes. The main thing is, I would say spontaneous intervention. Um, you know, uh, don't give it too much thought. Don't overthink it. Okay, you're done. Firstly, be someone who is very aware of our body. Be aware of your body. Be aware of small changes that could actually be, impactful to your overall well-being. Like if you have been a certain way all your life, any blood is the first telltale sign that something is not okay. Blood, weight loss, sometimes even unexplained weight gain. Okay, all of these are telltale signs. Hair loss, okay, depletion in appetite. Okay, there are so many telltale signs, but the thing is, we are so conditioned to be like, kuch nahi hai. you know it's the weather, or we blame it on circumstances. But now see, my family has no history of cancer, but I'm the first. So you never know. You cannot go by things what we perceive to be hereditary. It's not hereditary anymore. So
Yeah.
you know if you listen to your body, you will know when there's something not right. You will just know that there is something not right. You just need to listen to your body and not waste time in getting treatment. Don't mull over it. Don't pity yourself. You wouldn't pity yourself if you had the flu. You wouldn't pity yourself if you had, jaundice or typhoid. You would just look at it as a disease and get done with it. And it's the same thing with cancer. Just look at it as like, okay, I have this. What are my options to be treated? Okay, these are my options. Let's go get it done. So, you know, I mean, that's something I can't help but stress so much to people. Just listen to your body and you will just know.
That's actually very true. And the way you said that you immediately went to the doctor as soon as you noticed that your periods are not as per they actually were, and they were irregular. I think it's a big sign for any woman to visit the doctor.
Yeah. So my periods, okay, they never ever were irregular. The bleeding that happened between my periods. So
Mm.
literally, till I underwent surgery, my periods were still on time, still, functioning as normal as possible. But it was the bleeding that happened like maybe about 8 days after my periods, that rare little bleeding that happened. So, so although my periods were regular throughout, still it was this thing that happened between my periods that I said, okay, this is, not normal. So even if you're someone who has regular periods and you've never ever faced, and cervical cancer is one of, the most common cancers. It's one of the most common cancers in women these days, along with breast cancer. So even cervical cancer is a pretty common cancer. But the best thing about cervical cancer is that if you can really nip it in the bud early, if you just pay attention, to the signs. Just pay attention to the signs.
That's true.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yes. So this has pretty
So,
much been my
mhm.
journey. Sorry,
So,
please go ahead.
as you said that you had a very mild symptoms and you got it checked, but you had to undergo a surgery, which was a major surgery because you had to get rid of all the cancerous parts. So,
Right.
were there any side effects, as you said, hot flushes and everything that were a part of your menopause, and other side
Yes.
effects that you had, and how did you tackle those side effects?
To be very honest, because I exercise, okay, so exercising really takes care of your mental well-being. Okay. It's like even if you throw in like just 20 minutes of exercise in a day, you will see it is such a mood lifter. Okay. And it just like, I can't even explain what a mood lifter it can be. So on the psychological front, um, I nothing really bothered me. Also because nobody in my family or in my friend circle ever looked at me as a victim, you know. Nobody pitied me or anything. So even when I had friends coming over and, even when I spend time with my family, we don't talk about it. We just behave like how we were before this happened. As far as physical side effects were concerned, I was tired for a while, because from my body being very active to being very inactive for about 3 months, um, I used to tire easily. And but once I started, with the exercising again, that's when I just felt a physical buildup happen, and I was back to being literally how I was before I was diagnosed with it. So um, I never really had any so-called side effects. I honestly speaking, I think maybe also because I think side effects would happen for two reasons. One is if you were under very strong medication, okay, which I was not under. I was not under any strong medication. The second thing is a side effect will happen is when your mental well-being has not been addressed. Okay. So for my mental well-being, my entire circle, like, my support system was there to ensure that I never went down that road where it, could, you could say, play itself, or like, nobody played me as a victim, or
Mhm.
made me feel victimized by it. Of course, I did have a few people who did write to me when they found out and said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "There's really nothing to be sorry about. It's not your fault, firstly." And I guess because people don't know how to uh, address someone who is dealing with a disease that is perceived to be, a killer disease.
Mhm.
And so you can't even blame them. But I had a lot of people who wrote to me and said, it's so terrible that you're going through this, and so terrible that you're going through that. And I'm like, I'm actually okay. I'm actually absolutely fine. And I, in fact, put my story out there for people to know that I'm actually okay, and cancer does not mean death. There is like worse stuff happening, like, HIV and, diabetes, which, but cancer does not necessarily mean death, or cancer does not necessarily mean that your life is altered. It's your mentality that will actually determine whether your life is altered. My life is back to square one, just like I was before cancer. Like my son, when I went through this, my son was just 12 years old. Okay, it was just before his 13th birthday. And I took him out. This is before my surgery. And when I knew what was happening, I took him out to breakfast one day to have a talk with him. with him. And I said, I have something to tell you. But before I tell you, I just want you to know that you're in good hands. And I'm in good hands too. So his question was like, are you getting married again? And I said, no, that's not what's happening. Then I told him, I've been detected with cancer. I was upright and honest with him. I said, I've been detected with cancer and I'm going to undergo a surgery and they're going to take it all out. And that's it. There's nothing more to it. He's like, okay, cool. So I said, okay. I said, and you can talk to me about it. I said, so we were having this conversation during breakfast. I said, if you are scared, I can understand that, you are scared. So he said, Mom, what's there to be scared? You're just going to undergo the surgery. They're going to take it out and you're going to be fine. There's nothing to be scared about. And I said, perfect. That's exactly what I needed you to, know. And that's exactly the way I wanted you to handle this. And great. So he just saw it just the way I would want everybody else to see cancer. You have it, go take it out, and it's gone. Yes, some of us may need further treatment in the form of maybe chemotherapy or radiation. Okay. But once you're done with it, I mean, you're done with it. There is a life beyond it, and you can learn to live with it. The main thing is, like I said, being aware of your body and, being aware of the changes that you see and not, brushing them under the carpet. Like, honestly speaking, I have read a lot about cancer, okay, and the different types of cancer. And the most common, um, I would say, symptom to look out for in any form of cancer is some sort of a discharge or some sort of, it could be bloody, it could be anything, but your body will give you those kind of signs, you know, unexplained weight loss, appetite loss. It's so out there, it is
Yes.
so and sometimes it may not even be cancer, it could be something else where, your body is telling you there is something that is not right and you need medical attention. So, if you just pay attention, it can be addressed. So my son has two friends who had battled cancer, okay, young boys, and one was his classmate and one boy is a very close friend, a family friend, okay. And he has seen both of them turn around and come back at 100%. So for him, cancer is just a disease. There is hope because he's seen his friends literally, do a complete U-turn. They were both, one was borderline stage 4 and one had actually entered stage 4. And both of them are living absolutely normal now and completely cancer free. So, for him, he has his friends as a living example, and now he has his mom as a living example. So he's not worried, about cancer. And that is something, I wish people would understand that too, that you don't, the first thing is people, when they know about cancer, they break down and they start crying. And that is when you are ruining your chances of having a good fight, because being mentally strong at a time like this is of utmost importance. Surround yourself with positive people. So my friend who was with me when I was detected, and when the doctor said this, we stepped out of the doctor's office. We both looked at each other and I said, I need to get files and get organized. And he said, yeah, let's do that. We didn't think.
Yeah.
I just knew I was going to need files for insurance, So let's just get to work and get this done, Don't let yourself go down that dark hole, because, the disease is, I would say 70% of it is mentally, how it affects
That's
you
true.
mentally.
Definitely.
70% of it is how it affects you mentally. And if you surround yourself with positive people, and if you think positively, half your battle is won, So surround yourself with, people who do not, give you reason to think otherwise, and people who will just push for you to, go forth and get yourself attended to. And they're there for you mentally as well.
I completely agree with you in this because when you stay positive, you're actually able to keep yourself, your body as well healthy. So mental wellness is
Yes,
something which is not addressed these days, especially in the case of
yes,
cancer. And many cancer patients undergo this issue of getting depressed during the treatment.
yes.
Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes a lot of hair loss happens because of medication and things like that. And so similarly, I started experiencing a lot of hair loss. And also because of menopause, it's like, premature menopause, or rather what they call a surgical menopause. So I started experiencing a lot of hair loss. Like my hair was actually falling in bunches. Like I would run my finger through my hair, my fingers, and my hair would have like hundreds of strands, on my fingertips. It's okay. Your hair will grow back, And of course, I'm not going to have hair like I did when I was 16, but I still have some on my head, and that's okay. That's good enough for now. If not, there are wigs in the market. So, you have alternatives. The main thing is just be accepting to what it is. And there's always a bright side, okay? So, like I tell my girlfriends, I said, the best thing about this is I don't have to worry about periods anymore. Not like my periods were a pain anyway, but whenever I did have to run a half marathon, I always got my periods on that day. For some reason, the cycle worked that way. So I said, now I can actually run in peace without any bother of, oh God, I need to keep tampons in my pockets. So I said, there's always a bright side. I don't get my periods anymore. And that's awesome. Also, my skin cleared up. I used to get so many pimples. Okay. And I said, see, there's so many good things. I don't get pimples anymore, because my body is not producing estrogen anymore to cause the pimples. So there's always a bright side of looking at things, you know. So
Definitely.
yeah, it is a positive impact to quite an extent.
You
I
took
can
it in a
actually,
very, yeah, please
sorry,
continue.
I said I can actually plan, like, sometimes I can actually do things spontaneously now.
Hmm.
Okay, like before, every time I wanted to get my legs waxed, I used to actually, have my waxing schedule revolve around my periods. Okay, my periods are on this day, so I'm going to wax a couple of days after that. I don't need to do that anymore because so yeah, you have to look at the bright side of things and know that, everything happens for the best. Whatever it may be, it's always for the best. It may not seem like the best at the time that it's happening, but when you look back in retrospect, you will realize that, yeah, it is so much better now. You just need to believe that.
That's actually very nice. You took it in a very positive, and I really appreciate it. So,
Thank
you
you.
took it very positively, but what about your family? How did they deal with it when you told them about the fact that you had cancer?
So, my mom, like I told you, my son was very positive.
Mm,
My mom and my dad also, because I didn't, um, I didn't hide anything from them. I was very clear, very upfront from the beginning, and I. So when I broke the news to them, I broke it to them with in a very factual way. So this is what it is. This is how we're going to address it. This is the amount of time I'm going to need. So let's get organized. Okay. Mom and dad, I'm sure, were worried, but they put on a very brave and positive front for me. My brother was extremely worried, and I could see it in his behavior. I could see it in his behavior. He may have not said it, but I could see it in his behavior. He was really worried. And that's when I kept telling him and, reassuring him that it's no big deal. So, everybody wondered. So the few friends whom I did break this to initially, they did not know how to react because it literally came out of nowhere for them. So I had a few friends who did break down and who were really, really worried. And that's when, but then seeing that I was at ease, I guess that also kind of put them at ease. And so my family was at ease also. So my mom is also she's a very positive person. She is, she's like the rock of our family. She's very strong. She, you'll never know something is going wrong unless you like really dig it out of her. So, um, but at the end of the day, I'm her daughter, So, but she was absolutely strong. She used to come and spend the nights with me when I was in the hospital, and she was absolutely at peace. So, my family took it in a very positive way. Just my brother was a little stressed with the whole scenario. He was really worried, but so much so, he asked my son, okay, because he and my son are really close, and my son is quite a mature boy. So he asked my son, he said, "Aren't you worried mom's going to go through this and this and this?" So my son was like, "What is there to be worried? She's just going to undergo surgery and that's it. She's going to be fine." And, so coming from a 12-year-old, that kind of, reassurance really makes a big difference,
Yeah.
So sometimes, looking at this through the eyes of a child, I would say, is it's really important to help you deal with this. So my friends were quite devastated, a few friends of mine, especially my running group friends, some of my childhood friends also, they were really devastated, and they were really worried because, like I told you, people associate cancer with death, which is not the
Yes.
case, And so I had to tell them. So I had a few of them would be like, "How can you not be worried? How can you be like this?" I said, "But what? Get worried into what? Why should I be worried? I am undergoing a procedure, and that's it. There is nothing to be worried about, you know." And we just take it as it comes. Millions of people go through this, and they're doing absolutely fine in life, and they're thriving, you know. So it took quite a few of my friends a while to digest it. But when they saw that I was doing okay and everything was okay, so they're okay now, of course. But every time, like it's around my 3-month checkup, everybody's on pins, like, what are the reports going to say now? Everything's okay, everything's in the clear. So, yeah, so they get a little worried around that time. But I told them, even when, if the report ever shows malignancy, it's a very straight cutout procedure, you know. It shows malignancy, I undergo radiation, and I'm done with this for good. It's as simple as that. There is nothing to get worried about, absolutely nothing to get worried about. So, you know, they have been also really reassuring.
It's your positivity that has actually kept them going through this.
I've also had a lot of positivity showered on me, you know. So I've
Mm.
been very lucky to be surrounded by, I can't even begin to tell you the kind of support not just me, my family received from all my friends. It's like from all my running friends, okay, them, I call them my family, my entire running group, because they have been literally like family. The way they reached out and the way they made sure that my parents and my brother and my son would never need the want for anything, in terms of everything, in terms of food, in terms of you know support in the form of them being there, and we never had the want for anything. So, I never even felt like it was like, people would say, this is like the most difficult period of your life. And I'm like, it's actually the most simplest and easiest period right now because I am
People
getting
are there.
so much. Yeah,
Yeah,
people are there. So, I would say I'm surrounded by really positive people, like some real good people. I have met, through running, I have met such a bunch of amazing individuals who have been like such a big support system. So I'm really thankful to them for everything that they have done for me
that's wonderful.
and my family, of course.
Yeah. So, how, did you take any kind of complementary treatments as well? Like people go for Ayurvedic, herbal treatments, therapies.
No,
So you didn't
no,
opt.
nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't. And honestly speaking, even if I needed to, like, so there is this hormone replacement therapy, which is suggested after you undergo a hysterectomy. So when I consulted with my doctor and I asked him, I said, do you think I need to undergo, hormone replacement therapy, that is HRT? So he said, no, I'm not going to put you on anything that you can combat on your own. He said, it's all
Mhm.
about your mindset. Okay. It's all about you dealing with this. If you cannot deal with this, then we will look at putting you on treatment. But you try on your own first without this, without all of this. So I said, okay, doctor, I will try. And so weight gain because of menopause is something that would happen automatically anyway. So I started gaining weight, and that's when it was suggested that I just up my treatment. I mean, not treatment, I up my routine. He said, your body is probably used to a certain type of routine. So you need to push a little harder with exercise for you to balance out your weight gain.
Mhm.
So as far as possible, I have stayed away from all treatment. And unless it's really necessary, I'm not going to take anything. No pills for me. I'm so not a pill person. I'm worse than a 2-year-old when it comes to pills. So, as far as possible. So, even in the hospital, I was avoiding the painkillers, which you take orally. So, but one night, one of the nurses came to me and she said, because I had fever on the last night that I was there in the hospital, and she said, tonight you're going to have to take this. And I said, okay, fine. I will take it tonight. So, yeah, I took the pill that night. But otherwise, largely, I have been off pills. I have been off, I'm just making sure that I eat well. I exercise whenever I can, and I stay well hydrated. And that has been instrumental in my overall well-being.
Mm. So when you look back and you compare your life after cancer, what would you say that what kind of changes you have had after that, and how is your life now maybe different?
um Honestly speaking, the the biggest change in me, uh as a person, I would say I have become a little short fused. Maybe the menopause bit has a lot to do with it. So yes, my
Mhm.
tolerance levels have dropped. Okay. I used to be a very tolerant person and I could tolerate, you know, anything and everything, but now my tolerance levels have definitely reduced. So I do see myself losing my cool quite often. I
Mm.
am trying to take stock of that knowingly now because I don't want to end up hurting anybody. So I'm trying to be a little aware of, my short fuses and you know. So whenever I feel like I'm going to lose it, sometimes I try to control it and I say, no, 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 this is just your hormones all over the place, nothing else. Normally you wouldn't be like this. But sometimes, it doesn't work that way and you just let
Yeah.
fly off your mouth. So yeah, but I'm lucky I have people who understand that and have understood those changes. So yeah, I would say one of the biggest changes has been my temperament has changed. Um, I, other than my temperament, mm, I don't think anything else has changed much other than my temperament. Everything else is just like the way it was. Um, I'm back to doing everything that I was doing before this. There are no restrictions whatsoever in whatever I want to do. I'm a
Mm.
complete junk food person. So, I was on the streets junking food way before the 3-month period even passed. So, because doctor was like, why do you have to worry about what you just enjoy yourself, enjoy your life, you can live normally. So, you know, I use that to my advantage. Okay. So I went for it. Yeah. So
It's like
I'm back to I
do,
was
yeah, so I was saying it's like do everything and just keep yourself healthy.
yeah. So just live in the moment. So I would say like nothing much has changed except for my temperament. Nothing has changed. I'm still the same person. My mindset is still the same. Um, I don't like, I don't look at it as like, sometimes when people, meet me after a while and, they're like, so how has the cancer journey been? And I'm like, super, like, don't worry, I'm absolutely okay. They tread with caution when they want to talk. And I'm like, you don't need to tread with caution with me. My life's an open book. You can ask me anything. You can tell me anything. You know, if you want to know what it's about, I'm very happy to discuss this with you. Because if it is going to create an awareness and, help you see that it is not as deadly as you perceive it to be, then yes, I'm all game for it. So, in fact, the first year after my surgery, the first year, post my surgery, every month I would put up a post counting down the months to the first year. And I would just a small, simple post just to, it would be just a couple of lines, but just to try and bring everybody's spirit up and, tell them cancer is not as bad as you think it is, you know.
Mm.
So I would put a post every month on Instagram and I would count down the months. I would also give a lot of thanks to everyone who has been a part of this journey with me. Like, so, you know, but besides that, there's not been any changes otherwise. Nothing. Life is just like the way it used to be. It is as wonderful as ever.
That's great. So if there's one parting message that you would give to other survivors or cancer patients dealing with it right now, what would it be?
I'd say surround yourself with positive people. Just, because it's your support system that is what is going to carry you through. It's your attitude and your support system. Listen to your body. Okay. Listen to your body. Surround yourself with positive people. Think positive thoughts. Every time you feel you are slipping and going into a dark place, just pick up the phone and speak to someone who is going to switch your mood. Be honest about what you have. Don't try and pretend that it is not what it is. Acceptance is the key to this. The faster you accept what is going on with you, the faster you will treat it and the faster you will get done with it. So don't ever look at yourself as a victim. So I always tell people, I'm happy it happened to me and nobody else in my family, you know. And they're like, but why did it have to happen to anyone? I said it was supposed to happen to someone, but I got lucky. Okay. And believe in one thing, that whatever comes to you only because God sees you as someone who can handle it. Otherwise, it wouldn't come to you. Okay. If you look at people who are affected with a disease, okay, or people who are affected with a trying time, it is given only to those people who are capable of handling it. It will not go to someone who cannot handle it. And that is why we have so many survivors. Okay. So if it has come to you, it has come to you only because you are strong enough to handle it. Otherwise, it would never come to you. So that in itself is such a huge positive message. So if you are affected with something, understand, hey, it's only because I'm capable of beating this, it has come to me. So let me just get down to doing what I'm supposed to do and get done with it. Otherwise, it would never have come to you if you were not capable enough. So yes,
That's a
I would
great way to
say,
look at
you
it.
know, that is the only way we should look at it. Because if you really think about it, Manvi, it is true. Okay, it is absolutely true. Life comes to you. This is life's way of, and God's way of, handing out what he's supposed to hand out to the world. He will only give it to someone who has the strength to deal with it. It will not go to someone who doesn't have the strength to deal with it. So, you can be sure if something has come to you, it's come to you because you're going to beat it. Just maintain that positive attitude, and you are absolutely going to be sorted.
Thanks a lot, Valentina, for all this positivity that you just gave, and it was really inspiring talking to you. And it was a wonderful
Likewise, absolutely
conversation.
likewise, Manvi. I'm so happy we could connect.
So thank you so much again for joining with us.
My pleasure. Thank you for
Bye.
having me. Bye.